than Republicans. One of the GOP members who voted against the debt limit joins us now, member of the House Freedom Caucus, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. Congressman, great to have you with us here. Of course, we know the bill did pass, but again, you voted against it. Why?
Well, you know, raising the debt $4 trillion over the next roughly year and a half is just not acceptable. It's too big of a number. And let's be clear, it's a date certain, not a number certain. So that number could actually be larger. And a lot of the so-called savings that are in the bill aren't necessarily going to be realized. A good example would be the pay-go provision. That can be waived by the administration. So, you know, anytime a piece of legislation is promising future savings, I would be skeptical. That's why our Limit, Save, Grow Act had, savings on the front end.
Congressman, there's a look, by the way, at how much $1 trillion is if you stacked $100 bills, not end to end, but on top of each other. That gives you a feel for how far high the trillion, and then multiply times 32. That's the kind of debt that we have here, Congressman. Do you think there's any consequence for Kevin McCarthy? Because it sounds like those who are Republican and voted against this, but still don't go after Kevin McCarthy for what they may consider a bad deal. What's the thought behind that?
Well, I think, let's take a step back. If I, forget this bill in particular. If I said, Democrats passed a piece of legislation, meaning they were the largest voting bloc on a piece of legislation, you're going to make some general assumptions about that bill. If I say Republicans passed a bill, meaning they were the largest bloc, it should be noted that last night, Democrats are the ones who were the majority bloc that passed this bill. So when you're trying to judge who thinks they got a better deal, clearly the Democrats. And so now in regards to McCarthy, obviously there's some talks about vacate the speaker. We've all gone home for the weekend. Everybody will calm down, simmer down, and hopefully everything's in a new light come Monday. I'm happy to be one of those people that kind of tries to bring both sides together. I was one of those original 20 that I fought for the rules package. It was never anything against McCarthy. He's done a great job unifying our conference, but we have to move forward and lead the country. I don't like this deal. I think it's a bad for America. At the end of the day, we still have a job to do.
All right, Congressman Andy Ogles. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Coming up, in one major city, Republicans and Democrats are coming together. They are finding